Hey Raider Nation! Welcome to another hot and unmissable update about the Las Vegas Raiders. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because here you won't miss a thing. There's daily news, analysis, and everything you need to know to stay up to date with every detail of the team. And look, today's video is amazing, so stay with me until the end because there's some bombshell information coming. Don't leave. Now, let's get straight to the news. The Las Vegas Raiders could be about to pull off a real steal in the NFL draft, and it could happen as early as the third round. A team that has been known for putting pressure on the quarterback thanks to the explosive duo of Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins, now needs a piece to complete the defensive puzzle, a reliable cornerback. The Raiders' secondary is still far from inspiring confidence. Without a dominant player capable of neutralizing the opponent's best wide receivers, the Las Vegas defense is vulnerable, especially on more dangerous routes such as fades and seams, which punish any team that does not have solid coverage. The offseason brought some interesting reinforcements. Jeremy Chin arrived via free agency, joining forces with Isaiah Pola-Mao, who remains on the roster. Together, they form a competent duo in protecting the middle of the field. But still, there is a lack of that big name on the edges to make a difference against more aggressive aerial attacks. The arrival of Eric Stokes also raises expectations. After a disappointing stint with the Green Bay Packers, the Raiders are betting that a change of scenery can rekindle the talent that took him to the NFL. On the other side, Decamarion Richardson is still a mystery. Young, promising, but too raw to be a definitive answer. And that is where the possible masterstroke of the draft comes in. CBS Sports analyst Mike Renner released his latest three-round mock draft and has placed Darian Porter as the Raiders' third-round pick. A name that, at first glance, may not make an immediate impact, but one that has been gaining ground among analysts as a sure bet. And it's not just Renner. Other mock drafts also point to the arrival of a defensive back at this point in the selection, with names like Bill Halcone and Kevin Winston Jr. being considered. The consensus among experts? The Raiders will attack the secondary on the second day of the draft. Darian Porter may not have been a starter for many years at Iowa State, but when he finally got his chance, he showed his worth. In 2024, he accumulated 18 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 2 passes defended. Numbers that, in isolation, may not be exciting, but that gain another weight when we look at his performance at the NFL Combine. Porter ran the 40-yard dash in an impressive 4.30 seconds and clocked 4.04 seconds in the shuttle drill. That puts him at the top of the list in terms of speed, a key attribute when facing the league's fastest receivers. Of course, he's not an immediate starter, but that's exactly the kind of pick that could turn into a real find over the course of the season. With a defense already consistently pressuring the quarterback, all that's missing is a playmaker downfield. If Darian Porter develops at the expected rate, the Raiders could have found the missing piece in the third round to transform their defense into one of the NFL's most dangerous. The Las Vegas Raiders are back in the spotlight behind the scenes in the NFL, and this time, it's because of a big name, Jalen Ramsey. According to insider Ian Rapoport, the Miami Dolphins are officially exploring a trade for the 7-time All-Pro cornerback. And who seems like a natural candidate to acquire the veteran defender? Exactly, the Raiders. The timing of this rumor couldn't be more opportune for the Las Vegas team. With the recent departure of Jack Jones, the Raiders' secondary is experiencing a noticeable weakening, raising red flags for a sector that was already being questioned. If this situation isn't resolved quickly, the AFC West quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Russell Wilson, won't think twice about exploiting every inch of space left by the Raiders' defensive holes. The fit between Ramsey and the Raiders goes beyond technical necessity. He represents a key piece within the new philosophy that Coach Pete Carroll wants to implement on defense. Carroll, known for masterminding the fearsome Legion of Boom in his Seattle days, has always prioritized physical, aggressive cornerbacks with considerable reach. Ramsey at 6'1", 215 pounds and with nearly 34-inch arms, fits that mold perfectly. He's a defender with a leader's instincts, an imposing presence on the field, and the ability to change the course of a game. Carroll sees him as the kind of player capable of leading the overhaul of a defense that needs an identity. And while the impact on the salary cap is high, $25.1 million, the Raiders have enough room to accommodate the contract, especially if they believe Ramsey can be the piece that transforms their defense from vulnerable to respected. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Ramsey is already 30 years old and turns 31 in October, which raises questions about his longevity and compatibility with the Raiders' current rebuilding schedule. Additionally, 2024 marked the first season in 7 years that he was not selected to the Pro Bowl, despite playing in all 17 games for the Dolphins. This raises questions. Is the decline beginning? And more importantly, is it worth taking a chance on a high-priced veteran with a history of being traded to 3 different teams while GM John Spytek has taken a more conservative approach to roster construction? On the other hand, the potential for immediate impact that Ramsey offers could be exactly the kind of investment that changes the course of a team in the midst of a rebuild. On the cost-benefit front, it seems that the Dolphins will not be able to get a first-round pick for Ramsey, given his age and salary. However, a third-round pick is within reach. The question is, are the Raiders willing or able to afford that price? There are already rumors that Las Vegas would be willing to get creative to put together a fair package. According to Bleacher Report's Mo Moton, a viable alternative would be to offer a 4th-round pick, the 108th overall, along with wide receiver Trey Tucker. The proposal is gaining traction, especially considering the recent trade rumors involving Tyreek Hill. Even if Hill remains in Miami, Trey Tucker's explosive style fits perfectly with Coach Mike McDaniel's offensive philosophy, which emphasizes speed and creating separation. While the Dolphins could use Tucker as a versatile piece to add depth to their offense, the Raiders would also benefit doubly. By acquiring Ramsey, they would immediately strengthen their defense with a solid leader, paving the way for the team to focus on offense in the draft. With names like tight end Brock Bowers and wide receiver Jacoby Myers already on the roster, a new receiver coming off the second day of the draft could develop without pressure. And with that, the Raiders would have a revamped defense and a balanced offense, something they haven't seen in years in Las Vegas. The talks are still in the early stages, but the mere fact that the Raiders are being mentioned as a possible destination is an indication that the interest is real. What's more, it's strategic. Jalen Ramsey represents experience, physicality, and a winning mentality all at once. Everything a young, shaky defense needs to take the next step. If the Raiders are serious about accelerating their evolution and competing in a division as fierce as the AFC West, betting on Ramsey could be the bold move that puts the team back on the map of great NFL defenses. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Thanks and see you next time.